The Cowboys against the Bills in Super Bowl 27. Join us from Los Angeles for our Super Bowl preview show, Inside the NFL. We'll see and hear the sights and sounds of both teams as they travel through the season to Pasadena.
How about them Cowboys?
Chris Collinsworth will explain each team's keys to victory in his special analysis of the Super Bowl matchup. You'll not only see the best plays of the season, but hear them too in our Sounds of the Season segment.
Hey, don't smile it. Wipe those smiles off your face. Get your game face on, man. Let's got it. Let's go.
Joining us from California to analyze the Cowboys-Bills matchup are Keith Jackson, Howie Long, and Steve Young. And now, from Los Angeles, California, the site of Super Bowl 27, Inside the NFL, with your hosts, Len Dawson, Nick Bonicatti, and Chris Collinsworth.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's show, and we're coming at you from beautiful Marina del Rey in Los Angeles, California. Chris and Nick, this setting is very tranquil right now, but come Sunday, Pasadena, California, the Rose Bowl, anything but tranquil when the Cowboys and Bills will be banging each other's heads in trying to win a Super Bowl championship. But, Nick, I want to ask you about something that Ken Norton Jr., the linebacker for the Cowboys, said. He said, we're becoming famous for not being famous.
Very smart linebacker,
Yeah,
Ken
sure,
Norton, 'cause
yeah.
he knows that the Dallas defense hasn't proven anything as of yet. Yes, I know they're number one in the National Football League, but they are just beginning to earn their respect. Much like our no-name defense of the 70s, they are languishing in the background while you offensive guys, of course, are basking
As
in the
it should be,
sunlight
as
as
it should
usual.
be.
But that's only temporary because
Sure.
next year they will not be a no-name defense, and they will send at least 5 guys to the Pro Bowl.
You heard it here first. Five guys.
Doesn't matter which five, just send
Okay,
five
five
guys
guys.
to the Pro Bowl, yeah. But, you know, part of the reason why the Cowboys have been so successful defensively this year is they have been using 16 or 17 different players regularly during the course of the ballgame. Dave Wanstead uses a lot of substitutes, but that can be a disadvantage when you're playing against a no-huddle team because a no-huddle offense can limit the substitution pattern of the other team. Don't forget the 49ers had their best drive in that ball game using the no-huddle, and I thought the Cowboys got tired defensively.
Nah, this is a young Dallas football team. Number one in the National Football League defensively. They should be able to make those adjustments. My question is, the Bills defense, how are they going to handle all those offensive weapons the Cowboys have?
Well, the biggest area of improvement for the Buffalo Bills has been defensively, especially in stopping the run. Right now, the Buffalo Bills lead the NFL, allowing just 3.3 yards per carry. So Emmitt Smith and the Dallas Cowboys, they make their living running the football, but they're going to have a tough time against this Buffalo Bills defense.
Versatility, man, that's the namesake. That's the Dallas Cowboys. Norv Turner, the offense coordinator, knows that Buffalo's going to have the linebackers up tight, bring up the strong safety, because they're going to want to stop Emmitt Smith from running the ball. He's not going to slam Emmitt Smith into a brick wall. He's going to attack that Buffalo secondary with receivers Irvin and Harper. These guys are fast, they're strong, they'll go over the middle, they will make the tough catch, and when they get hot, then Emmitt Smith will get hot.
Oh, I just knew it. I knew you guys would have an opinion on Super Bowl 27. I just knew it. Later on in the show, we're going to have our special guests come on, and I'm interested in their opinion of this football game. Buffalo Bills have overcome injuries to major stars, 32-point deficits, and a quarterback controversy. Let's take a look at the Bills' season from a most revealing place on the sideline and in the huddle.
You're going to hit the A gap away from him, and I'm going to come around.
Oh, I'm going to cross his face and come over here, and you're going to come around. You'll have a one-on-one with guard.
Right.
Don't get that too close now. Don't give away our secrets.
He goes no huddle out of regular. They'll flex it.
Come on, you can tell us.
Yeah.
No, I'm not telling.
When we go out and we perform, and we perform to the best of our abilities, that's enough that needs to be said. Nothing else needs to be said.
We're going to do this with class, baby. They got a hell of a football team, but we got class. players on this team have matured enough to know that that's the way it is, and that's the way it should be. And we're having fun doing it.
Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. All right? Let's do it. Everybody together.
About 5, and here is a reverse coming up to Reed. Reed and a lateral to Kelly and a flea flicker. And wide open is Beebe at the 20 and the 15, and in for the touchdown. How do you like that? A reverse lateral flea flicker.
I think that we picked up where we left off. Our effectiveness is still up. We're still at the top with points scored in the game. We're still at the top of total offense, passing, rushing. So it's one where I'm very happy with what we've done.
All right, now I'm going to talk James Miller, but I'm looking at him on a 93. Ringo.
Here's Kelly to pass. In the pocket, throws to the end zone, wide open, Lofton, touchdown! Wide open, James Lofton.
Hey, 46 to win, baby. Take 46. Can't do it by himself. Got to have a 1-2 punch.
Thurman trying to get to the corner flag, touchdown! He is in for the score, I believe. Kenneth Davis for the corner flag, touchdown!
Was there anything out there besides the guy you blocked? Okay.
Let's go back to it. I'd like to pay him back.
16. Yeah, we're good. We're going to keep on it. Just keep hammering, Thurman. Just keep hammering.
And Thurman out to the right. Here's a run by Thurman, and in heavy traffic, he fumbles the ball. Picked up by the Patriots linebacker at the 10, the 5. He scores a touchdown.
With a 16-week schedule, it's so hard to really motivate yourself every week to that big game level. And I think subconsciously you relax a little bit, and before you know it, you get beat. And I think that's what happened to us.
We lost 2 more towards the end of the year, where you need momentum to go into the playoffs. Nobody picked the Bills to even probably win the game, against Houston here, or to even make it through the playoffs. A lot of people probably said we get knocked off and knocked out.
Let's go, damn it! Let's go now! Come on now! Now! Come on, baby!
Hey, listen, guys. We got 4 games to go. We want to win a championship. In your heart, everybody pick it up just a little bit higher level. And we're going to take it all the way this year now. Let's go.
Well, the lights are on here at Rich Stadium. They've been on since this morning. You can pretty much turn them out on the Bills right now.
Listen, we can overcome, baby. We can overcome this.
Huh? What we got? Calf 90 switch. He's running 2 and James running 6.
Reich is going to the shotgun. 4th and 5 at the 18. There's the snap. He backs up. He looks. He throws. Reed, touchdown! It is pandemonium here at Rich Stadium.
Pandemonium all over!
Good job. Hey, we still got 1 more. Still got to get 1 more.
3 wide receivers, 2 to the right. Back to throw. He looks. He throws. Touchdown!
We were down 35-3, so I just figured that had to be the greatest comeback in NFL history.
Now you talking about character. This is one. This is a team, damn it.
I think the experience and the character the team showed in that type of win. This team as a whole, we have to be, it has to be a serious knockout punch for us to be out of it.
Kind of looking forward to it, but at the same time, we're going to take it all in stride. We're going down there with a business-like attitude, a professional-type attitude, and doing whatever's necessary to win this ball game.
The question's going to be asked, what about your past losses? Say, hey, we're just getting ready to win the Super Bowl.
Los Angeles is about 1,500 miles west of Little Rock, Arkansas. You talk about a city on a winning streak. Its governor was elected president, and a native citizen tight end Keith Jackson advanced to the AFC Championship game as a member of the Miami Dolphins. Keith joins Chris now to discuss Super Bowl 27.
All right, Lenny, thank you very much. Keith, a lot of people are talking about this Buffalo Bills defense. They've made such a remarkable turnaround last year, had a lot of problems, ranked towards the bottom of the league, now up towards the top. What did they do? How did they turn it around?
I think you got to look at their front seven and say, how did they get better? I think the thing there, you know about Bruce Smith, you know about Cornelius Bennett, you know about Talley, but the people you don't know about is like Marcus Patton, Hanson, Wright, those guys in the middle. You know, those guys have like 8 sacks and they're sharing time, and Patton's making plays, which allow Cornelius Bennett to do a lot more. And I just think that what's happening is those guys are stepping up their level of play. In the past, they looked to Cornelius Bennett and Bruce Smith to make the big play. Now they're not looking to them. They're making the big plays, and it's the guys that you never heard of making the plays and making the defense better.
Well, there's one guy that you've heard of, Henry Jones, made it to the Pro Bowl this year. A lot of different interceptions. People are saying that he's a big reason why they've been able to turn it around. Your thoughts on him?
He's outstanding. One thing they can do with him, they can put him one-on-one with a tight end. You know, they put him on me or Eric Green and say, take care of this guy. He's your job. He can do that. He can come up and fill on the run. And another thing he can do is he can find that ball when it's in the air and when it's tipped. He's outstanding. He has the quickness. I think he played a little cornerback in college, so he has the coverage ability. And when you have a guy like that, you can freelance him and let him do some things that a normal free safety or strong safety can't do.
What about the other safety? A lot of people think Mark Kelso may be a liability back there.
Kelso is not probably one of your better athletes as far as being fast at running and knocking people out, but he makes the plays and he does exactly what they tell him to do. One thing you'll see him in quarterbacks to say he disappear off the screen because he's so deep in coverage, but every now and then that defense coordinator will bring him up and put him in position where he has to cover somebody, but you're not used to seeing him there, so you don't worry about it. Then when you see him there, you don't have a time to take advantage of it.
Your old teammate is Cowboys quarterback Troy Aikman. He played with you at Oklahoma. A lot of people don't realize that. He ended his career at UCLA. Your thoughts on him? Can he handle the pressure of the Super Bowl?
Troy can't handle the pressure, you know, because Troy is the type of guy who just wants to drive a pickup truck and probably dip skull. That's all he wants to do. And the thing about him, and they'll tell you, he'll never change. I don't think he lives or dies with football. He's very competitive, and he loves to play the game. And the thing that I love about Troy Aikman is that Troy Aikman never panics. You'll see him get hit, he'll get up, and he's just the calmest guy you ever see.
The Dallas Cowboys defense, #1 in the National Football League. Now, you used to play against them twice a year. Are you surprised to see them this successful?
I'm surprised. I'm very surprised, but I can see why. The thing is that there's no marquee player on the team that they're saying that this is our guy that we have to depend on. They're playing great defense, team overall defense. And one thing that defense coordinator does, and I remember when I was at Philly, he's going to make sure you don't make the big play on him. If you're going to beat him, you're going to beat him with the little dinks and dunks underneath. But that's what Jim Kelly's good at.
All right, Big Money, it's your time now. Pick the winner.
Well, hold on. Let me see something. Somebody's beeping me.
Your calculator?
This is my beeper. Oh, that's my mother's beeping me. She says Buffalo's going to win by 4.
Way to go out on a limb. Thank you very much for that. All right, guys, let's go back to you. Lenny?
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Hey, Keith Jackson has changed his tune since coming from the NFC to the AFC.
Lenny, remember I interviewed him down in Miami? What did he say? Oh, the NFC is so much tougher than the AFC. But the way Buffalo kicked Miami's butts, I don't blame him for picking Buffalo in the Super Bowl.
I see the tight end's role in this game different for both teams. Metzlars, McKellar, for Buffalo, big guys, blockers, they use them that, don't throw to them very much. But Novacek for the Cowboys, he's the guy that they throw the ball to.
Yeah, but I think Novacek is really underrated as a blocker. Of course, he's not going to knock you on your fanny, but what he will do is he'll get in your face and he'll screen you. Hey, and with Emmitt Smith, that's all you need.
Yeah, but on third down, Troy Aikman is going to be looking for Novacek over the middle someplace. I guarantee you that. Speaking of tight ends, you know, even with Keith Jackson, it would have been difficult for the Eagles to get past Dallas this season. The Cowboys are trying to become the third NFC East team to win the Super Bowl in the last 3 years. Let's go to the sidelines and in the huddle to see the Cowboys' game plan to success.
Come on now, we're here. Let's go, baby. Let's rock, baby. Let's rock. Right now, we got a job to do.
Talking didn't do the job. It's what you do on the field.
Buckle your seatbelts. There's going to be physical today.
Third and long, they pressure him and gets excited and he's out there yelling, everybody's like, calm down, coach. I mean, we're okay. I mean, usually it's the players, that get that way, but, he gets excited about it, and, that's good.
This is why you play the game. You play in games to find out who are the contenders and who are the pretenders. Hey, dominate the line of scrimmage. Let's have a hell of a game. Win. 1, 2, 3, win.
Number 1 defense in the league. Number 1 defense in the league. Number 1 in the nation around here. Oh. Dallas Cowboy defense, unconscious.
You in the zone, man. You in the zone like Jordan. You know that? Now you know how Jordan be feeling in the zone. Yeah. I've seen that. That's all.
Better handoff. Smith coming right. Trying to outrun the coverage. Makes a cut. Gets it. Oh, he's still going. Oh, he's got 5. He's going to score. He's got the 5. It's a touchdown. And it's absolutely ridiculous. It should never have happened, but Emmitt Smith does the impossible, this time from 29 yards out.
Oh, this is incredible. This is one of the very best.
That is the greatest one I've ever seen in my life. Unbelievable.
The center took him across. The right guard had him up. Where did you see? You saw the gash. Did you see the gash?
Did I see it?
Tony plays a big part in my success by not only having my offensive lineman prepared, but on some plays he come to me and show me on the photo sheet what's exactly going on.
Here's what you got. Anytime there's a bubble over the center, we're going to be driving this guy this way in 7. Whether it's slant or belly, it's going to be drive across, and you'll be right behind him.
And basically giving some tips and pointers, maybe, you may want to look at this. You may want to see this. See, there's a cutback lane here. You may want to bounce this. 2E has this guy blocked like this, and things like that. And once I get on the field, those things go in my mind, and I look for them.
Got a seam, got the lane, got 68 yards. Happy Thanksgiving, Emmitt. This one's over.
Unbalanced, we go to the strong side, right? It's a trip. Phoenix, double switch man.
The coaches, they don't get enough credit on how good of a job they do preparing us for big games.
Read them and make a play. Run your ass off. We're kicking middle. Kicking middle. Run it, read it, make a play.
Martin drifts back, takes it at his 21. Comes left, 25. There's a block. 30. There's a block. 40. There goes Calvin Martin to the 40. To the 20. This one's going 79 yards. Calvin Martin. Touchdown. Dallas Cowboys.
So many offensive weapons. I think you're right, Brad. This is a very good offensive game.
Come back to throw. Great protection. Deep ball on a hitch to Urban, and it's caught. Touchdown. Thank you very much yet again.
Wow, what a throw this is.
I think most people in the country will recognize the NFC East as the most difficult division in all of football, and to be able to win it, well, it says something for a football team.
Don't get no better than this.
That's what 16 games all about, is getting this position right here. Be a war out there.
Back to throw. Here comes Haley. He can't hold it. Put it down, and here comes Colbert. He's got it. Back at the 17-yard line.
Number 1. We going to the Super Bowl.
Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Every single one of you. I mean, I'm not just talking about these last 60 minutes. I'm talking about the quarterback schools, the mini camp, the off-season, the training camp, down in Austin when it was hot and you were tired. Everybody, you did one hell of a job. And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Only Only a handful of quarterbacks have faced both the Cowboys and Bills this year, including the league's most valuable player, Steve Young. Now, who better to lend some insight into this game? Let's go over to Steve, who's with Nick.
Thank you, Lenny. Steve, you played against both of these great defenses, Dallas and Buffalo, this year. How would you attack them?
Well, I'll tell you, I'd attack them very differently. Dallas, very zone-oriented, but then when they do blitz, it's 7, not 5 or 6 guys. So you can really tell, to me, when they're going to bring everybody and when they're not, and you can get used to that. Buffalo, very much more of a variation. You're going to be ready for all kinds of blitzes, 5 guys, 6 guys, the all-out blitz, and then the 2-deep zone, which you see a lot with Buffalo. So to me, the biggest challenge will be the defensive line of Buffalo and the pass rush of Bruce Smith.
Last year's Super Bowl, the Redskins really looked like they blitzed a lot to try to get to Jim Kelly. They forced his hand early. Kelly looked like he was very, very confused. But it seems like Buffalo has found the answer this year. Last game against Miami, they screamed past the Dolphins to death.
Right.
Can they take advantage of this young, aggressive Dallas defense?
I think so. You know, you look at the experience of Buffalo, and they're going to be able to come into this ball game and not have a lot of the first quarter jitters. They're going to come in thinking, well, this is where we're going to make the difference in this ball game is the first quarter. And Kelly being the experienced guy, when they start playing zone, they can take advantage of it. And like I said, he'll be able to see when they're bringing all 7.
Let's talk about a little bit about the Dallas inexperience. So this is the biggest game these young players have played in. Buffalo has the experience, but in the game against you, the Cowboys looked very poised.
They sure did. In fact, they played beyond their years, no doubt, especially in the second half when really it was all decided. And so you can't really talk about their inexperience too much because they overcome that with their aggressiveness, even with Jimmy Johnson's decision making. He's very aggressive, and I think that's kind of devil-may-care attitude has carried him this far.
The Dallas defense sort of reminds me of our 72 Dolphin no-name defense. The only guy that people really know on that defense right now is Charles Haley. He was a former teammate. Right. He seems, as he goes, that defense sort of goes. How would you attack Charles Haley?
Well, the speed is outside. I mean, that's his upfield rush is where he's going to really hurt you. So to me, if you don't have a tackle that can match that speed for the whole game, it's the extra guy. It's the back coming out to chip off him to make sure that he doesn't get that speed coming upfield because like Bruce Smith, he can change the nature of the game just to one man on defense.
Does Buffalo have that offensive tackle to block him?
Well, I mean, I don't know enough about Buffalo to say that, but if not, I think you have to take the extra guy to slow him down.
All right, the tough one. Who do you like in this game?
You know, I thought about it all week. I think that because Buffalo is going to be very desperate about this win, and their experience hopefully in the first quarter will help them, I think that they'll be able to carry it through and win their first Super Bowl.
Steve, thanks for being on the show.
Okay, Lenny.
Back to you, Lenny.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Chris, I am surprised. Steve Young, an NFC guy. The NFC has dominated the Super Bowl for the last 8 years, and he's picking Buffalo to win.
Well, I talked to Steve before the program, and I think some of it has to do with the fact that they had so much success with the no-huddle offense. He said the defensive linemen for the Cowboys were exhausted at the end of that 2-minute drill that they ran, so he's probably thinking Buffalo may have a little advantage with that.
And if I remember, they ran that late in the second half, so if Buffalo comes out and starts it from the get-go, it could be a big factor in that ball game.
That's right.
Well, last time the Super Bowl was played in L.A., it was more than a little disappointing that the city barely noticed. In this week's cover story, Brian Burwell finds out things have changed.
Nothing like a Southern California Super Bowl. You have the beach, the sun, the surf. Yeah, the surf. That's part of the lure of having the NFL's biggest postseason bash here. So much partying to do.
Non-stop partying. It's probably the Super Bowl's greatest attraction, yet it also has created an image problem. The Super Bowl and the NFL have been perceived as detached hit-and-run artists, blowing into town quickly, isolated on some lofty, exclusive hill, and pretending as if the surrounding communities hardly existed.
And it was quite evident the last time the Super Bowl was in L.A. that no one noticed. But then reality struck. Super Bowl 23, the Miami riots. The NFL partied while the city burned. But now, either through sheer embarrassment or a new sense of consciousness, pro football is trying to correct itself for Super Bowl 27.
The disturbances in Miami certainly made us aware of the fact that the Super Bowl itself is not immune to problems that take place in a community where we're holding a game.
And in recent memory, there's no community that exposed the problems of our society more than South Central LA, where the scars from last year's urban uprising are still apparent. But a rebuilding process is underway in places like Compton, where country western star Garth Brooks and the NFL combined forces, donating $2.5 million to build a multi-purpose educational and recreational facility called YET, Youth Education Training.
I think the youth is our future, and I think the education is the future of our youth. So I think the two go hand in hand, and I want to do everything I can to promote that.
The NFL is recognizing that they can do more, that there isn't just a tax base that they want to leave behind. They can invest some of their dollars. There is a profit opportunity here. There's a profit in good time. There's a profit in building education opportunities for young people as well.
In another pilot program called Touchdown for Youth, 750 teenagers from 38 different boys and girls clubs in Southern California will be attending the Super Bowl.
Where are they now? On Willie Davis. Now, I spent a whole week before Super Bowl I worrying about how on earth are we going to block this very quick defensive end, because we didn't have anybody to match up one-on-one with him. Talking about matchups, I'd like your thoughts on some of the keys.
When you talk about the Willie Davis matchup, there's a matchup exactly like that in this ball game. That's Charles Haley against the all-pro offensive tackle Will Wolford. Wolford's got good feet. He's big and he's strong. Charles Haley, he's undersized, but the one thing that this guy can do is get off that football and make that corner and get to the quarterback. Now that's important because Jim Kelly's not 100% healthy, and if he makes that corner and it gets to Kelly, Kelly could be a target.
Well, on the other side of the ball, the strength of the Buffalo Bills defense is on their right side. Smith and Bennett and Talley. So that means the Cowboys are either going to have to slide their line that way or use their fullback Darryl Johnston to help on their offensive left side. That will put on the other side of the ball Eric Williams, their fine young tackle, against a very red-hot pass rusher in Phil Hansen. Hansen has 9 quarterback sacks in the last 9 games, so because of the overshift, Eric Williams is going to be on the bubble in this game.
Well, I'll tell you what the defense for Buffalo is going to have to do. The front four is going to have to put pressure on Troy Aikman, because if they send linebackers to put the heat on him, that's going to free up Emmitt Smith. That means the linebacker is going to have to cover him. That's a mismatch in favor of Emmitt Smith.
Lenny, Dallas's defensive strategy is they like to play a loose zone. You're not going to see Dallas's cornerbacks come up and challenge guys one-on-one. That is not what they like to do. So they're dependent on their front four getting that pressure up the middle. If they cannot do that and Jim Kelly sits in that pocket and looks at that openings in the zone, he's going to find his veteran receivers of Lofton, Reed, Beebe, and Thurman Thomas coming out of the backfield all day long, and they'll kill Dallas.
Well, the Cowboys have a very unusual situation on their defensive line in that their best pass rushers both play the same position. Tony Tolbert and his backup, Jim Jeffcoat, are number 1 and number 2 on the Cowboys in sacking the quarterback. That's going to put tremendous pressure on House Ballard. Ballard is a Pro Bowl player, but he's going to have the dilemma of facing a fresh body on every single snap of the ball.
Well, I think we're talking about two very similar football teams. The game plan's basically the same. Establish the running attack. Also with your front four, put pressure on the quarterback. That means if this is even, it could get down to the play of the special teams. And both these teams have outstanding players. The Cowboys have Gant and Martin. The Bills have Tasker and Pike. Gentlemen, it could get down to the kickers. And in that case, I favor the accuracy and the distance of Christie of Buffalo over Elliott for the Cowboys, who are having his problems. Now, we have analyzed this game about as much as we possibly can. The next time I talk to you guys, I want to know who you think is going to win it. But first, for the viewers, you've seen all the highlights, you've read all the hype. Now it's time once again to go back to NFL Films and hear the sounds of the season.
Start of something is always fun. It's always something a little bit special. And no matter what happens out there on that field, never give in to it. Nobody gives up. Never give up.
Let's knock them on their backs, butt them in the mouth, knock their ass in the dirt. That's what we got to do.
Best versus the best. The world watching.
They expecting a dog fight. Let's give it to them, baby.
Time to rumble.
Prolific pass receiver in the National Football League's history.
James Lofton is the all-time yardage receiver in the NFL, breaking Steve Largent's record.
Don't smile it. Wipe those smiles off your face. Get your game face on, man. Let's got it. Let's go.
Here comes John Elway.
Elway's got the ball. To the end zone.
John Elway has done it again.
This guy will go down as the greatest come-from-behind player in National Football League history.
Back to pass
Kelly throws short. The New York Jets are going to win this football game for Dennis Bird.
D-Bird, this is for you, baby. D-Bird, baby. For you, D-Bird. We got one, baby. Buffalo, baby. All right, D-Bird.
Emmitt Smith's taking it all the way. He's got the 20. He's got the 10. He's got the touchdown. And he's got the NFL rushing championship for the second year in a row.
First down, and with that catch, Sterling Sharp becomes the single-season all-time reception leader, beating out Art Monk, who did it back.
Montana's still the best, and he always will be.
Split in the backfield. Young to throw. Sets up. Tucks it in. Runs away to his left. Has some space. He's got lots of room. 35, 30. Stays in bounds. He's to the 20, 15. One man to get by. He's to the 5. Carries him into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers. Dragging Bailey all the way. Oh, what a play. What a play by Steve Young.
Put somebody in that wants to hit. Every individual, get yourself prepared.
Let's do it our way, one play at a time. Haul ass down there, you haul ass.
Hey, hit balls for the throat.
You can make it happen. 1, 2, 3.
Run, 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 run.
Understand? Rush the quarterback.
It's a jungle out there, baby. And if you ain't ready to be in that jungle, you better go home.
Come on, this is touchdown right here.
Going for the bundle. Got a guy open. It is. Touchdown. Leaping high over the defender in the end zone. Oh, baby, what a play. Put that sucker in your VCR.
It couldn't be more dramatic. They are going crazy. The Eagles are in the playoffs.
Ladies and gentlemen, the decade of decline is officially over. The Chargers are going to the playoffs.
We ride them down. Your prediction all the way back to Miami. And you're Buffalo back. We all
I look stupid with both these hats on. But when you get them, when you put 56 on the scoreboard, you can wear hats like this. I might get me a third one. Just because I can.
We on the division, baby.
This football team is going to Pasadena. The Cowboys are going to a Super Bowl.
California, here they come. The Bills are going to the big show.
That beautiful shot came to us from the MetLife blimp. Folks, if you were with us last week, you might remember we reported that Thurman Thomas stiffed both HBO and Sports Illustrated. As it turns out, Thurman offered to reimburse us for the cost of the camera crew, and he had already given Sports Illustrated enough for their story. Well, we also said we're going to be following up on Thurman Thomas to see how he handles the hype leading up to Super Bowl 27. Gary Myers has been here all week long covering both teams. First of all, did he show up, Thurman Thomas, for the first media day?
No, Lenny, Thurman Thomas was definitely there. He was surrounded by 100 reporters at Dodger Stadium earlier this week, and he really seemed to be in a good mood. He seemed to be trying to enjoy himself around the media, and he even joked about his misplaced helmet from last year, saying he thinks his backup, Kenny Davis, might have taken it so that he could have got on the field for the first couple of plays. But he did say he's still going to carry through on his tradition of not holding on to his helmet during the national anthem. He's going to place it near the bench area again. And for his sake, you have to hope that nobody takes it this time.
The new tradition is Marv Levy will have somebody following him in his helmet, make sure he's got it when he goes on the field. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Only 2 of their players have Super Bowl experience. What's their attitude coming in?
They really seem to be incredibly loose this week. I think it's a reflection, at least early in the week, of their coach, Jimmy Johnson. He's giving the players a lot of latitude with the media, a lot of latitude on their free time. They're staying at a hotel on the beach, and a lot of players are enjoying that. On their off day, they played golf. A lot of them went fishing. But one player did tell me that he expects Johnson to snap at them by the end of the week to make sure they're focused, make sure their mind is right for Sunday's game against Buffalo.
Sunday is the important day. You know, let's talk about the no-huddle offense of the Buffalo Bills. We discussed it earlier, saying it might be a problem for the Dallas Cowboys. How are they prepared to handle Buffalo's no-huddle offense?
Lenny, in the off week last week, Jimmy Johnson came up with the idea to get the Dallas defense prepared for the pace of the no-huddle. He had two offensive teams taking snaps in practice. The first team would go in, run a play. As soon as the ball was set, the second offensive team would go on and run a play, hoping to get the defense adjusted to the pace, the quick pace of that no-huddle offense. Dave Wannstedt, the defensive coordinator, says he's a little concerned about the possibility of not being able to make those defensive substitutions. The Cowboys play 16 different players on defense, and it's extremely important to their game plan.
Playing in a Super Bowl, there is the glory of winning it all. There is also the cold, hard cash that you earn from that game. Tell me about that.
Well, Lenny, unfortunately for the players, it doesn't appear when that new collective bargaining agreement is signed sometime in the spring that the increased playoff money will be retroactive to this year's playoffs, which means, for example, if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, each player will receive $64,000 for the 3 playoff games the Cowboys would have won. By contrast, Troy Aikman, the starting quarterback during the regular season, makes about $64,000 a game. So most players in this game are taking a pay cut to play in the playoffs, but winning that Super Bowl ring is worth it.
Yeah, the money's going to go in a hurry, but fortunately you keep on holding that Super Bowl ring. Now, this is a big event, the Super Bowl, but also Bill Parcells signing to be the head coach of the New England Patriots. That's a big deal. What's been the reaction to that? It's
been an incredible reaction in New England. You have to consider that last year the Patriots only sold 21,000 season tickets, but in the first 5.5 days after Parcells was hired, the Patriots sold 3,500 new season tickets. They kept their ticket office open on Saturday and Sunday, which is very unusual during the offseason. They had the lines going out through the door. So you have to say that right now, Parcells has brought incredible, immediate credibility to the Patriots franchise, something they desperately needed.
Oh, I hope that they make it up there because that's been a great franchise. See you later in the pick segment.
Okay, Lenny.
Well, now that we've taken you behind the scenes a little bit, it's time to get into the X's and the O's. So we locked Chris Collinsworth in the film room. We said, Chris, you're not getting out of here until you finish your keys to the game.
Each week we put in a different game plan and go with what we feel is going to be best against that team. There's so many plays you can run in a game. Whether we use a couple of the new ones, whether it looks good in practice is yet to be seen, but it's one where this is going to be a game that the fans are going to want to watch.
What Bills fans prefer to watch is Jim Kelly standing firm in the pocket.
Lets it go long downfield. Beebe's got it at the 15.
And that's where he'd prefer to stay, bad knee and all.
He's not the most mobile quarterback, so if we can get him moving and scramble around, that'll be definitely to our advantage.
We'd like to see Jim Kelly on the run. We'd like to see him on his back a few times, putting a lot of pressure on him. That's what we're going to try to do basically going this game. We're going to go after him and definitely play aggressive.
They'll probably pick and choose their blitzes. I think they'll bring some heat because we, in a lot of our formations, we're only pass blocking with 5 people. They know that they can bring the extra guy and get him home. But then again, somebody's going to be one-on-one out there somewhere, so it's up to Jim to find them.
Dallas is not a real big blitzing team, but you never know. You have to prepare for both. Their defensive front, every guy is so quick. It's like playing against 2 Cornelius Bennetts on one side, 2 Derek Thompsons on the other. They're not quite as big as, say, a Washington Redskins team, but their aggressiveness and their quickness stands out.
As both receiver and runner, Thurman Thomas poses the biggest single threat to Cowboys defenders.
I think the biggest thing we got to do, we've got to make sure the threat of run is always there. Whether we use it a lot, we just have to make sure that threat's there.
If I was to pull out one key thing, I think you have to definitely take your hats off of their two running backs. Thurman Thomas and Kenneth Davis have done a great job of being a 1-2 punch, and I think once one comes out, you really don't have a breather because one is just as good as the other. So definitely always, number one against Buffalo, stop that run.
The teams that have had success against the Bills are the teams that have neutralized. I don't think you ever shut them down, but you neutralize Thurman Thomas and Davis, and then you force them to do other things.
I think we should just be patient and take what they give us. I think that was our motto last week, even though we played Miami 3 times. And just be patient and try not to get giddy and try to make a big play, on the first play of the game or whatever.
And resisting the temptation to go for it all in a hurry is also at the top of the list for the first rushing champion ever to appear in a Super Bowl.
The most important thing for me to do is be patient as a runner, take my time, not going in the game trying to make a whole bunch of things happen. Let them happen naturally and don't try to force a bunch of things.
Emmitt Smith is the most dangerous man on their offense. Anytime he has the ball in his hands, he has the capability of making a big play. So we're going to have to do everything we can to stop him and keep him from taking over the game, controlling the game.
Emmitt is such a threat every time he touches the ball, and you don't know where he's at. He'd be like, oh, where'd he go? Where'd he go? You know, I think we got to be concentrated to go down and make our blocks. That's the big thing. And hopefully we'll start getting people edging up a little bit, and then we can make some catches upfield.
One of our keys is being balanced, and we don't use a lot of formations. We don't use a lot of tricks, but hopefully our strength is that they're not sure to play run or pass.
We think that's the key, is just trying to keep them off balanced. And one of the reasons we have been as successful as we've been is because we have been balanced. We've been able to mix the pass and the run. We do both equally on first and second downs. So I think that's the whole key, is being able to do both things.
It's like a cat and mouse game. They're going to take what you give them. It's something that for this full 60 minutes, we're going to have to be a disciplined defensive football team and not allow too many big plays, because they have some players that are capable of making a lot of big plays.
Michael Irvin, Kelvin Martin, Jay Novacek, and Alvin Harper are all big play targets.
And it's caught at the...
When you're playing up, as we do a lot of the time, we really got to jam the receivers off the line and hold them up and try to help the rush get there, buy some time for the rush.
The Bills' pass rush is picking up speed, and at the center of the storm is Bruce Smith. Smith's skills are most often showcased from the end position, but when he lines up over the guard, he presents a whole new set of problems for the Cowboys' blocking scheme.
One of the things we will want to do is mix up the schemes we use and not give him the same look each time, because when he gets one-on-one and knows who's blocking him and how you're blocking him, he's awfully tough.
It's tough to deal with the aura of a Super Bowl as well, whether your team's been there before or not.
No one really expected us to go this far this year as soon as we have, so we really basically feel like going out there that, I mean, we're so naive and gullible that we don't know what we're doing out there. That's what people think.
You work so hard to get to this point, and you want to go out there and win. Who knows? You may never, ever, ever get back there again. So I think our team and myself is going to definitely go out and play like it's our last time, like this is the last Super Bowl that's going to ever be played.
Although the Bills lost 5 games this season, they also beat 4 of the teams that defeated them. They split with the Jets and the Colts. They defeated the Oilers and Dolphins in the playoffs. The only team to hold an advantage over Buffalo this season is the Raiders. Their perennial All-Pro Howie Long is with Nick to analyze this Super Bowl.
Thank you, Lenny. Howie, you played both Dallas and Buffalo. Can you compare the two offenses?
Well, you're talking about two very high-powered offenses with contrasting styles. Buffalo running that no-huddle offense will present a great problem to Dallas. Running a play at every 18-second clip. The coordinator, Dave Wannstedt, in his last performance as Dallas's defensive coordinator, will have his hands full in getting the signals to his linebacker, and then the linebacker getting the signals to his defense. 18 seconds is very, very fast.
You know, when you played Buffalo, you guys stopped Thurman Thomas almost cold. But then again, when you played Emmitt Smith, he really had a field day. What was the difference between these two running backs?
Well, they're very, very similar in the sense that they make people miss. I think Thurman Thomas, he clear-cut makes people miss. He makes clean, sharp, crisp cuts. Whereas Thurman Thomas, he seems to glide. You don't really see the move he makes, but he's making it. And Emmitt Smith, no one seems to get a clean hit on him. I know, I didn't see him the entire day.
What about the offensive lines? I mean, to me, that is the key. Last week against Buffalo, against Miami, Buffalo's offensive line just pulverized them. Dallas has been sensational all year long. How do you compare the two?
Well, Buffalo's offensive line is an extremely well-conditioned group. Obviously, running that no-huddle offense, they have to be. To get 300, 340-pound guys to run a play every 18 seconds is a phenomenal accomplishment. Dallas's offense is the type of offense they can either go finesse or they can go power. If they decide to go power and run the ball, they wear you down. The first and the second quarter will not be indicative of how the game goes. I believe the third and the fourth quarter, as it was in San Francisco when they wore San Francisco's defense down. will be the key.
What's the key matchup in the game on that defensive line for Buffalo and the offensive line for the Cowboys?
I say for the defensive line, for Buffalo, I see them matching Bruce Smith up on the center. I see them matching up on the left guard and the left tackle. And the way they're going to do that is they're going to go with an 8-man front so that Dallas has to block pocket. And on defense for Dallas, I see them rotating Haley over on the big right tackle, Ballard, and I see them bringing in Jeff Coach to run some power moves on Wolford.
Let's talk about the respect or lack of respect that the Bills have. They've been in 2 Super Bowls. They played 4 NFC teams this year. They beat all 4, including San Francisco and New Orleans. They're playing against Dallas, which is a young, inexperienced football team, but yet you go into the game, they're a 7-point underdog. Is the NFC that much better than the AFC?
I'm not sure if the NFC is that much better from a league standpoint, but obviously Buffalo has a monkey on their back the size of King Kong, having been there 2 times and now their 3rd time, the first team to do it since your Miami Dolphins. But Miami won 2 out of those 3. This is their opportunity for greatness and to get that monkey off their back. And if they're going to do that, they have to come together as a team. I think they've done that this year. They've set their egos aside, left their egos at the door, and they're saying, let's get it done collectively.
Well, then let's have the all-important pick. Who do you like in the game?
Well, emotionally, I'm going with the AFC, but from a betting man's standpoint, I have to go with Dallas.
Howie, thank you for being on the show.
My pleasure.
Back to you, Lenny.
Nick, thank you very much. Chris, Howie Long played against both of these offensive lines, but he seems to favor the Cowboys.
Yeah, and I tell you, they've done a great job all season long. And remember last year when we were talking about how bad the Cowboys' offensive line was? They gave up 11 sacks to the Philadelphia Eagles, and they looked like they were really trouble. But give Tony Wise, the offensive line coach of the Cowboys, a lot of credit. He took 2 free agents, 2 third-round draft choices, and John Giesick, who was acquired from the Raiders for a 5th-round draft choice, and made them into one of the best offensive lines in the entire league.
All that is bad news for the Bills' defensive line. A couple of reasons why I think they're playing so well in Dallas is they've been healthy all year long. Another reason is their offensive coordinator, Norv Turner, had Troy Aikman go 3 steps and 5 steps before throwing rather than 7 steps back there. That means he's getting rid of the ball a lot quicker. The offensive linemen don't have to hold their people out that much longer. Everybody is happy, and Troy Aikman is healthier. Well, Howie Long will go down as one of the great defensive linemen of the 1980s. The subject of this week's Where Are They Now was one of the greatest of the 1960s. Willie Davis typified the championship Packers attitude. They won 5 titles. He was made All-Pro 6 times. Since his retirement, he has continued his winning ways.
As coach of the Packers in the 60s, Vince Lombardi looked for men who hungered for excellence and feared failure. Willie Davis, his small but overachieving defensive end, possessed those attributes in large quantities. And Willie produced 6 All-Pro seasons, 5 World Championships, and a place in the Hall of Fame. Lombardi taught Davis well.
He kind of built this sense in the football team. On a given Sunday, you just cannot be denied. I mean, you got to come off this field with the victory. And he used to also say, how you play this game today will also represent partly how you'll live your life. And I think it's in that area that I still recall an awful lot about Lombardi. When I was thinking about what I do after football, I said, well, I really would like to go into business. And once I made that decision, I realized that I needed to go back and reinforce that training. So I enrolled at the University of Chicago Business School, and 3.5 years later, came out with an MBA in the off season. To me, going into business was really another test of, will you be successful?
After retiring in 1970, Willie moved to California and started a beverage distributorship in Watts, the area that had been destroyed by racial riots in 1965. It was a tough place to start a business, but Willie Davis didn't know how to fail.
In the first 3 years, I repaid every debt and retired every kind of loan that I had associated with the business that was more term than a 5-year or longer.
By the time he sold the company in 1988, Davis was a multimillionaire. Lately, he's been concentrating on all-pro broadcasting, his group of 5 radio stations in Milwaukee, Denver, and Los Angeles. Willie also holds positions on the boards of a whole slew of corporations, including Dow Chemical, Kmart, Sara Lee, and LA Gear. Several years ago, Davis was one of the finalists considered for the NFL commissioner's position when Pete Rozelle retired. And recently, he's been active in trying to bring a new NFL franchise to Memphis. Willie's children are growing now. His son, Dwayne, was bitten with the acting bug. He played Bo Kimball in the TV movie The Hank Gathers Story.
Hank Gathers will be with me.
His daughter, Lori, is a lawyer who's been helping Willie run the radio business.
I feel like now that I would like to probably spend another 10 years in a way involved in probably working, but maybe not doing it at the same pace and with the same number of expected obligations.
The one thing Vince Lombardi never taught Willie Davis was how to slow down. That's something he'll just have to learn on his own.
Willie Davis, what a terrific person. I remember him when he got out of Grambling College. His coach was Eddie Robinson. It shows that Eddie not only produces great players, but great people as well. And it's also great to see a Where Are They Now that's as successful off the field as on the field.
Oh, rich man. Ooh,
Rich man,
lots of bucks.
You know that he's accumulated almost as much money as Nick.
That is not humanly possible. That's not true. I'm not buying it.
I said almost. I didn't say almost. All right. It's pick time, is it not? It is pick time. We've all been waiting for this. We've picked all 224 regular season games, the 10 postseason games, but that was just a warm-up. Now it's time to pick the game, the Super Bowl. But first, let's review the picks made earlier on the show from our expert guests. Dolphins tight end Keith Jackson says, I think I'll listen to my mother. She knows best. I'll go with Buffalo. Quarterback Steve Young, who's in the NFC, says, I think it's an upset. I will go with Buffalo. Howie Long spent his entire career in the AFC. He says, my heart belongs to Buffalo, but my head says you better go with the Dallas Cowboys, sucker. Now, it's time for our gang to pick who is going to win this. We'll start with the champion for the 1992 season for the man out of New York, Gary Myers.
I like that introduction, Lenny. One of the reasons I really like the Cowboys in this game is Jimmy Johnson. He's really proven himself to be a big game coach over the course of his career, and he's not afraid to take a gamble or take risks in huge games. A couple weeks ago in San Francisco, the Cowboys had a 4-point lead late in the game. They were backed up to their own 10-yard line, and they had a 70-yard slant play that he called that won the game for him. Troy Aikman in the postseason, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's completing 66% of his passes. He's just not making any mistakes. I don't think the Buffalo defense is going to be able to handle the diversity of the Cowboys offense for the entire game. On the other side of the ball, I do think that Jim Kelly and Buffalo's no-huddle offense will catch the Cowboys defense off guard early. The Cowboy defense might have a problem with the pace early on, but I do believe they'll catch up to him as the game goes on, and that's why I like the Cowboys 31 and Buffalo 20.
Geez, Gary, that's exactly how I told you. You repeated it very well. But I hate to agree with you, but one thing I really love, Dallas Cowboys and the competition they play. They win the NFC East, then they go out in the playoff, they play the Philadelphia Eagles at home, they whip the Eagles, then they have to travel up to Candlestick Park, they play the 49ers in their backyard, and they beat the 49ers. It's a tough road to hoe, especially the NFC East. They are really ready for the Super Bowl. They have the best offensive line, I think, in the National Football League. They have the best running back in Emmitt Smith. They have Troy Aikman, who's matured as a quarterback, and he is really playing like a veteran. And they have the #1 defense in the National Football League. They go against, of course, a team that I think is seasoned veterans, guys who have played so well, coming back from so much adversity, the Buffalo Bills. I respect the players tremendously, but in the final analysis, I think the talent and the speed of the Dallas Cowboys overcomes the Buffalo Bills.
I'm not going to listen to these two guys. What are they?
Buffalo show up. That's
what the heck? Just don't even show up, Buffalo. You don't have a chance.
They didn't show up last year.
Oh, thank you very much. But I really like the way that the Buffalo Bills match up, especially in the secondary. Henry Jones on Jay Novacek, Nate Odoms on Michael Irvin. They should be able to go one-on-one and counterbalance each other, the strengths of the Cowboys offense, if you will. The Buffalo Bills are getting healthy right now. They're probably healthier than they have been all season long. And I really feel like the Buffalo Bills are underrated. Everybody's picking the Dallas Cowboys as much on the fact that the NFC has won so many games in a row. Instead of looking at this game specifically, the Buffalo Bills match up very well. I like Buffalo.
You know, as I've listened to you guys all through this show, I come to the conclusion that both of these teams are very similar. We said that before, that offensively and defensively they're very similar. It gets down to who is going to play the best. I think, Nick, you've been in this three times, twice for you, twice for me. I know that you can throw out who is favored in this football game. It's how they're going to perform. We've also talked about the hype and the importance of the hype and who is going to handle it. The Buffalo Bills have been here twice in a row. This is their third time, and look at the attitude of the people coming into this football game. I think it's so very important. I think Bruce Smith is ready. I think Thurman Thomas is ready, and I know that Jim Kelly is ready. I look for Buffalo to win this football game, and I don't call it any kind of an upset. Well, there are choices, folks. You know that Inside the NFL will be back next week to recap Super Bowl 27. Join us as we'll be back in our New York studios. But remember, Inside the NFL premieres each Thursday evening at 11 p.m. If you missed any part of it, you can catch it once again Fridays at 7 p.m., Saturdays at 11 a.m. Those times are Eastern and Pacific. So from beautiful, sunny California, I hope you enjoy Super Bowl 27.
We in there. How did it go, huh? Hey, aren't you glad I got on your ass and sitting on that helmet? To the bowl, Coach. Hard work and perseverance, baby. Y'all get out of here. Who y'all think y'all are? Good boy, great game, man.
Don't let them goad you in the past ones. You earned your way here magnificently.
Go, I'm gonna go. If I think I gotta have a break, I'm gonna tell DJ to take. Okay, Daryl's coming. You have got to stay. You just got to give him the, you see what I mean? Yeah. I'm going to go tell Daryl that he's coming, okay? Joe, we're right on the same page. You got it? Right. Okay? Right. Same page. Joe, just check. Okay.
There are 100
and a legend. That's the class of 1993 to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This summer's ceremony should have a special feeling to it, sweetness. Every running back in NFL history can use the 5-foot 10-inch man from Jackson State as a yardstick. None measures up. Walter Payton played 13 seasons in the league, 16,726 rushing yards, 10 seasons with 1,000 or more yards rushing. 77 games with more than 100 yards gained on the ground, 110 rushing touchdowns. He set the example for the Bears on the field, and he remains one of the classiest men ever associated with football. Chuck Noll, 4 rings. Need any more evidence that he's one of the greatest coaches of all time? When Noll took over the Steelers in 1969, they had never won anything with the word championship attached to it. In 23 seasons in Pittsburgh, his teams won 11 AFC Central championships, 4 American Football Conference championships, and 4 Super Bowls. No other coach has 4 rings. Bill Walsh has 3. The 49ers won 61% of their games in the Walsh years after having gone 2-14 the season before he took over. Walsh's preparation included scripting his offense's first 24 plays for each game. His organization transformed the Niners organization from a mediocre one to a constant contender. In Miami, if you say the number 66, fans say Larry Little. He was brilliant, he was durable. His blocks helped get the Dolphins to 3 Super Bowls. They won 2 of them, including the one which completed the perfect season of 1972. Dan Fouts was a 3rd-round draft pick. He's one of only 3 quarterbacks in NFL history to throw for more than 40,000 yards, along with Fran Tarkenton and Johnny Unitas. He threw for 3,000 yards in a season 6 times, for 4,000 yards in a season 3 times in a row. What are the criteria for getting into the Hall of Fame? Certainly these players who were overlooked had their moments when they were arguably the best in the game at their positions. As for Carl Eller, his problem is that sacks weren't counted when he played. If they were, his 130 would be 3.5 ahead of Lawrence Taylor, who has the official all-time lead. The class of '93 will be honored in Canton, Ohio on July 31st. We'll have more football news in this 1-hour edition of Sportscenter coming up in just a couple of minutes from Super Bowl 27. Charlie? And how 2 of the best defenses are going to be dealing with them. We send it out west to Chris Berman in Pasadena. Bomer?
All right, Jack and Charlie, thank you. SportsCenter continues to hover high over Century City, California. The site of the media headquarters of Super Bowl 27, the Century Plaza Hotel. You look down, and here we are on an island, Gilligan's Island, perhaps. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson.
Chris's Island.
The skipper, Joe Theismann, the professor, Chris Mortensen. Thurston B. Howell will be by a little bit later. Less than 24 hours now, of course, till the kickoff of Super Bowl 27. And both teams today, the Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills, had a walkthrough at the Rose Bowl to get themselves acclimated to the field, the beautiful field that they're going to contest this game on. Weather forecast, kickoff shortly after 3 o'clock here in California tomorrow. Partly cloudy, just a slight chance of rain. Temperature 60 to 65 degrees, as they would say out here in California, perf for Super Bowl 27. One of the major questions this week is, will the Buffalo Bills' no-huddle offense befuddle the #1 ranked defense in football, that of the Dallas Cowboys? The Cowboys haven't seen many no-huddle offenses this year playing in the NFC East. The Bills, of course, can run it to perfection. We asked Jim Kelly earlier in the week, would the no-huddle offense be run at Mach 4 speed?
They have never seen a no-huddle offense. We're excited about it. We've added a few different wrinkles, and I'm sure they've done the same. But when you play against a team that doesn't see it that much, you want to get that pace going. You want to get them going, because we think that when you do that, it can confuse them to a certain point.
The no huddle is a concern. It's very difficult to simulate there in practice because of the lack of numbers. What we have tried to do is have part of our team practice with some of our first team offense and then our scout team offense going 2 huddles at once to try to get the plays off in about 15 seconds or so.
All right, guys, let's go around the horn. I mean, will this work, and will it befuddle the Cowboys, Tom?
Well, Chris, I think it depends on how fast the Buffalo Bills run their no-huddle. Last year in Super Bowl 26, Richie Pettibone and the Washington Redskins substituted the people they want on the field. They had 16 to 18 seconds to do it. When I spoke with the Buffalo Bills, they gave me every indication they will speed this offense up as much as necessary to keep the Cowboys on the sideline that they want on the sidelines, Joe.
Tommy, I think the problem begins even before the Buffalo Bills take the field for the Dallas Cowboys. It's how you think about how you want to defend it. Do you go with 4 down linemen, 1 linebacker, 6 defensive backs, or do you go with 5 defensive backs and 2 linebackers? In either case, one of your key run stoppers is not going to be on the football field all day.
Well, one thing, Joe, is I don't think you're going to see the Cowboys wear down like the Miami Dolphins did in the AFC Championship game. That's because the Cowboys had extra running last week during their off week, 4 days in pads this week, and they've been running those offensive units against their defense back-to-back in rapid-like session. Now, another note is that they had to prepare for the no-huddle offense against the Redskins as well as the Cincinnati Bengals in the preseason, Chris.
And you know, Mort, that Dave Wanstead and the defensive staff has busted down the films of what Richie Pettibone did last year. That's right. As the Redskins just took the Buffalo offense almost off the field. All right, let's huddle. No huddle, long huddle, it doesn't matter. Both teams' offenses can strike and strike often. But if you're going to break it down, Joe, and you're looking at one key factor for each team in tomorrow's ballgame, what are you looking at?
I think the first key factor for the Dallas Cowboys has got to be the presence of Jay Novacek in the game. He is Mr. Third Down. Had 68 catches for the year, 42% third down conversion for the Cowboys. The league average only 37. You see what Troy Aikman's going to look at. He wants to find and see if the corner is going to cover man-to-man. If that's the case, he knows he can work Novacek to the outside of the defense without anybody being a problem. For the Buffalo Bills, it's obviously got to be Andre Reed, the forgotten one. 3 touchdowns through 16 games, 3 touchdowns in the playoffs, but they all came against the Houston Oilers. I really feel like Novacek and Reed have got to have big games in this Super Bowl for each of the offenses to keep moving the ball down the field.
And you think, Joe and Tommy, about Andre Reed, the last couple of Super Bowls, boy, he was hammered by the Giants and the Redskins. They really took him out and took Kelly and Reed out of their rhythm. Do the Cowboys have that sort of personnel to hammer him? Will they go that way, Tommy?
I don't know, Chris. What they do have is a lot of speed in that defense, and that keys everything that they do defensively. The young legs and the ability to pursue to the football. Here in the championship game, Ricky Waters running the ball wide, and just look at the number of Cowboys that get to the football eventually. You see 6, 7, 8 guys around the ball. Now, certainly Mark Levy, in order to counter that, will have to use a lot of misdirection counters. I think you'll see a lot of reverses in the beginning of that ball game. For the Buffalo Bills defensively, one of the keys is going to be where Cornelius Bennett lines up. When you line him up on the outside and put him in the pass rush mode, as we see him here, there's a certain softness that I think the Bills have in the middle of the football field. The way to counter that, you put Cornelius Bennett in the middle and let him do what he can do instinctively. As they open up the hole here for Bobby Humphrey, he fills it better than Bobby Humphrey, brings him down for no gain at the line of scrimmage. Another big matchup for the Buffalo Bills, obviously going to be Bruce Smith and Mark Tuinei. Mark Tuinei had problems with Timmy Harris. In Bruce Smith, you get a bigger, stronger, faster, quicker package.
So for Buffalo on defense, their big play guys like Smith and Bennett have to make some big-time plays. Let's go to our big play guy, kind of, Chris Mortensen. Mort, I mean, there's been a lot of chatter, not only XO this week, and not only about the Bills and Cowboys, as you might expect at Super Bowl 27. What have you dug up for us?
Well, let's start off with the Cowboys first. Jimmy Johnson, he's been downplaying this, but he's been readying the Cowboys for a smooth transition when Dave Wanstead officially becomes the Bears coach about 7 o'clock Sunday night. Now, one thing that Wanstead's doing, he's taken with him offensive line coach Tony Wise. Replacing Wise will be Hudson Houck, who just resigned from the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Houck will be reunited with Norv Turner. He's the Cowboys offensive coordinator. They work together with the Los Angeles Rams. Now, on the player front, it looks like Brownie Nagel is going to have competition with the New York Jets for the quarterback job. The Jets are discussing internally whether to trade for Boomer Esiason or pursue free agents Steve Berline and Steve Bono. And speaking of Esiason, he's been here in L.A. palling around with Howie Long, and clearly he's gotten the message to Al Davis that he wants to be a Raider in 1993.
Well, that would be intriguing if that came around. We know that Berline won't be a Raider in 93. Can I go on?
That you can bet on.
Oh, that's my tip.
Go with that one.
Kind of ingenious, right? We're got plenty more to come here from Century City as Sportscenter continues to rollerblade on from both coasts. Andrea Kramer will join us later. We'll take a look at defense, the Swami, and all our fearless predictions. But now SportsCenter continues with Jack and Charlie.
Card. It pays to discover the card that pays you back.
SportsCenter continues from out here at the Century Plaza Hotel, joined now by Andrea Kramer. And, of course, we get all fired up for the ball game. Everybody talks that maybe this is the Dallas no-name defense, the #1 ranked defense in football, but no Pro Bowlers. People know about half of the Buffalo Bills defense. I mean, they have some big-name guys, but maybe you're going to tell me that it's the guys that aren't known may give the Cowboys more trouble than the known Bills?
Well, remember, Chris, Bruce Smith has said that of the 3 Super Bowl defenses on which he's played, this edition is clearly the best. They've given up only 16 points in the last 10 playoff quarters. Bruce Smith, despite cracked ribs, is healthy. Remember, last year he missed 11 games with a knee injury. Bruce gets most of the attention. After all, there's only so much limelight that can shine on any team.
You could say our whole team has quite a few superstars on it, and it's tough being on a team like that because you're always overlooked.
The queen bee, that's all they ever talk about, but there's so darn many workers that produce the honey, and it's the same thing in this. Everything to me is relative, you know. You got to have the Bruce Smiths, you got to have the Jim Kellys, and then Thurman Thomases, the Andre Reeds, but you'd be surprised. It's the other workers that make those guys what they are.
Maybe we should call the Bills the Killer Bees. You've got Bruce and Biscuit, alias Cornelius Bennett, then all those worker bees. And who are those guys anyway? Who do you think is an unsung guy on your defense?
Well, I think, for one, Phil Hansen.
I think Jeff Wright.
Probably myself.
Probably Jeff Wright.
Do I have to pick?
You have to pick one.
Okay, I think Marcus Patton.
I'll probably have to give the nod to probably Phil Hansen.
Yeah, I've always said if it wasn't for Darryl Talley, Bruce Smith would probably he'd go in the shell, because again, Darryl does an excellent job promoting Bruce, because he's a very non-selfish player, and you know, they just work well together.
I'm still the other guy around here. You know, there's only so much of a limelight for anybody to grab, and, you know, certain people are going to get that right away.
Two-time Pro Bowler Talley was snubbed in the selection process this year, hence his frustration. His respected career epitomizes the catch-22 of the other Bill defenders. Others shine because of them, thereby dimming their own limelight. But despite the decreased notoriety, these players reap their own benefits from playing alongside or in front of a Bruce Smith.
He's unpredictable. I think offenses have problems with that. And when they start drawing blockers to him, it helps me out. And in turn, when my pass rush is on, they have to use two people to block me, which helps him out and Phil out.
And a lot of times, they have to game plan around Bruce Smith. So my role may be to, in some way, free up Bruce Smith, because he is a unique individual, and you got to let his talent flow. And I'm willing to do whatever I can to let Bruce get in the spotlight.
Some regard their unheralded status as a plight, others as a blessing. Henry Jones has benefited from the improved pass rush as much as the reflected media spotlight to earn his first Pro Bowl appearance.
As long as the team's winning and, you know, you're doing, everything's going great for the team, then, you know, it doesn't mind being anonymous. I think the team's success will also help bring out some of that anonymity, so I think it goes both ways.
It's ironic that we're talking about the Bills being anonymous, considering that 4 of their 10 Pro Bowlers are on the defensive side of the ball. The real unsung guys are in Dallas. They have the #1 ranked defense and yet no Pro Bowlers. That's a function of their scheme. They use situation substitution, rotating in as many as 19 guys, so the scheme, rather than the individuals, gets the attention.
You're right, Andrew. Scheme and speed in Dallas's case. And you know as well as I do, so often in Super Bowls, an unsung player comes to the forefront. Well, you've given us many options.
May have just seen one.
Well, we may have, and if not, we're saying that we did. That's our story. We're sticking with it. Thanks.
Pleasure.
Tommy, we look at the Dallas defense and their scheme and speed, but is there a play that the Bills run on offense that they really have to be careful about?
Yeah, I think as they watch the Buffalo Bills play the AFC Championship against the Dolphins, they know that the screen pass has to be a primary concern. Here they run Andre Reed in motion to dictate what the coverage is. You watch the DB follow him across the formation. They know they have man. Now at the catch, the point of the catch, Brian Cox would like to be outside. He's inside. He can't force things back to his help on the inside. Now the attack linebacker, who would have been hitting the screen pass straight on, ends up chasing Thurman Thomas down the football field, and he can't get there in time to keep him from scoring the touchdown. So I think that as they defend that screen, you know, they will be able to stop some big third down conversions for the Bills.
Well, looking at that game film from the title game, that may be obvious. Joe, when you look at the offenses in the game, there's some obvious things that they're looking at, but sometimes it's what's not so obvious that's most dangerous.
It really is. And when you take, for example, Jim Kelly, quarterback in the Buffalo Bills, we know he's going to throw the ball down the field. You know what his ability is. But watch how he looks off the defense. He stays left, then comes back to the right, just freezing the defensive back long enough to get Lofton wide open. We know Emmitt Smith is a great back, but who's this guy, Daryl Johnston? Well, he may be the fullback, he may be a blocker, but he's one of those guys you just don't hear about, that if the Buffalo Bills ignore Daryl Johnson, he may be one of those unsung guys that come up and bite you.
I think the 49ers will agree that they ignored him a little bit, and they aren't here this week. Tell you what, though, we'll be back here. SportsCenter continues out here on the left coast. It's time to peer into the crystal ball. All of the Swamis will give their prediction in just a jiffy as SportsCenter continues. The talk out here in L.A. all week, babe, has been what happens if the Buffalo Bills lose another Super Bowl, if they go 0 for 3. Well, a bad omen out there for the Bills. The road to the Super Bowl once upon a time went through Pittsburgh. Remember that adage? Well, the road to 0-4 for Minnesota and Denver goes through the Rose Bowl. One of the Vikings' 4 losses was at the Rose Bowl. Super Bowl 11, they lost 32-14 to Oakland. That was the Willie Brown interception that really cemented another loss for the Vikings. One of the Denver Broncos' 4 losses was Super Bowl 21. They played a good first half, but became unraveled in the second half. Phil Simms was tremendous for the Giants. The Giants beat Denver 39-20. So each the Vikings and the Broncos have lost in the Rose Bowl. Will it happen to the Bills? But before you say, okay, there's the omen, no one has brought up what happens if Dallas loses the Super Bowl. Little known fact, If the Cowboys lose, they'll join the Broncos and the Vikings as four-time losers in the Super Bowl. Vikings and Broncos have lost 4. Dallas and Miami have each lost 3. The Cowboys losing in Super Bowls 5, 10, and 13. All right, how else do you stack up the game? A lot of it is keeping up with the Smiths and the Joneses. Well, it's hard to keep up with Bruce Smith, that's for sure, of the Buffalo Bills, perhaps the most dangerous defensive player on either side of the ball. But if you look at the roster of Smiths, Bruce is the only one for Buffalo. Dallas has Emmitt Smith, Vincent Smith, Kevin Smith, the cornerback, Jimmy Smith, the wide receiver. Cowboys lead the Bills 4-1 in Smiths. As for the Jones department, we obviously begin with Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, but it doesn't stop there. Jerry is joined by linebacker Robert Jones, defensive lineman Jimmy Jones, and guard Todd Jones, who is on the physically unable to perform list. Buffalo has only Henry Jones, so 4-1 Smith and Joneses. Dallas leads Buffalo. Where does Buffalo have an advantage? Well, Super Bowl experience. 38 Bills have played in a Super Bowl before. Only 2 Cowboys have played in one. One, Ray Horton, was the man beating Montana to Taylor in the Super Bowl a few years back when the 49ers beat the Bengals. But Charles Haley, the other Cowboy that's had experience, he's the only guy on either side of the ball that has Super Bowl rings. All right, we've given you enough omens. We've given you enough Trivial Pursuit. Now it's the moment of truth. The Swami in the championship week went with the Niners and lost, went with the Bills and won. We're 1-1, which means our playoff record is 4-4. Dare I go XO for a minute? I think both teams' offenses are outstanding. I think you have to guarantee them 21 points each. It'll be which defense, the Dallas with their speed or Buffalo with their big play guys like Bennett and Smith, gets a foothold and prevents the other offense from getting maybe 10 or 14 more points. I think it's the Bills that get the foothold. So the Swami says, for the 3rd straight year, we're going to try it. Buffalo 30 and Dallas 27. It's our story, and we're sticking with it. But I need some help on this, guys. There was no news, that factor that I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. Well, what do you think, guys?
Well, you try it till you get it right, Chris. I think the scoring is going to be important. I think the Bills have to get the lead early. In Super Bowl III, Joe Namath gave the AFL credibility. I think Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills now have to do the same thing for the American Football Conference. Bills 31, Cowboys 28.
Well, I've heard about the Smiths. I've heard about the Joneses. What about the Johnsons? I don't know whether they're going to be there or not. This is personal for me. The reason I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills is because 10 of the last 11 Super Bowls have been won by the NFC. Only one quarterback stands alone, having lost to the AFC. Me. And I don't want to be alone any longer. I don't want to wish you any bad luck, Troy, but it's tough being alone. I'm picking the Buffalo Bills and Troy Aikman to join Joe Theismann, 24-21.
Well, I got a little surprise for you guys. I don't like the way the Buffalo Bills have prepared for this game. I like the way the Dallas Cowboys have. Buffalo is in a must-win situation. The Super Bowl is big enough without having a must-win situation. Look for Emmitt Smith to run well between the tackles, and on the Dallas defense, sure, you can move the ball against the Cowboys defense. They're tough to score against. Jim Kelly does not have the patience to get in the end zone often enough. He'll throw a couple of interceptions. Look for Buffalo to start sputtering at the start. They need a fast start. Look for Buffalo, however, to score late. A late touchdown just to make it close. 30-27, the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, we're all thinking there'll be a lot of points, and we shall see. Well, so far, it's a Buffalo crowd. I guess I can judge by that. We have 90 minutes to delve into Super Bowl 27, a game that we all feel will be outstanding from start to finish. Of course, you say that every year, too. Noon Eastern time for a full 90 minutes, noon to 1:30 Eastern, 9 o'clock in the morning out here on the West Coast, and then Sportscenter, i.e. prime time, after the game at 11 o'clock Eastern. That wraps it up.
And Dennis Miller. He'll be entertaining for us at a big Hollywood gala.
I'm in therapy now. I'm very insecure. I'm so insecure I get depressed when I find out the people I hate don't like me.
California, where we are less than 24 hours away from the kickoff to Super Bowl 27. Tonight, the excitement is right next door at the NFL Experience. And we are live for Super Bowl Saturday night. Starring country music superstar Garth Brooks, comedian Dennis Miller, Football Hall of Famers Dick Butkus and Joe Namath, superstar quarterbacks Randall Cunningham, Warren Moon, and Steve Young. retired Bengal stars Anthony Munoz and Reggie Williams, and NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue. Also, we'll announce the NFL Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, and Player of the Year. And we'll announce the class of 1993 in pro football's Hall of Fame. And now, your host for the evening, Bob Neal.
An awesome sight, the now empty Rose Bowl, where tomorrow more than 100,000 fans will fill it for Super Bowl 27. Tonight, though, we're in the middle of the NFL Experience, an interactive theme park for football fans. Over 700,000 square feet of games and booths and food and fun, but this is only the control center for our show tonight. We're going to be taking you on an exciting tour of Los Angeles, where there is excitement and parties and festivities galore. Let's get started back here in Pasadena, though. One of the most popular exhibits is the Quarterback Challenge. Now, this man was a quarterback. He is certainly a challenge. He was the winning quarterback in Super Bowl 11. Kenny Stabler.
You know, Bob, one of the great things about the Super Bowl and the week leading up to it is all the events they have.
Is going to be the Super Bowl and the battle of the quarterbacks. A couple of good ones. Just 3 years ago, Troy Aikman was 0-11 as a starter for the Cowboys. This year, 23 touchdown passes. He's starting his first Super Bowl. He'll be matched up against the veteran, Jim Kelly. He was injured. They thought he was out for the year, but he came back to lead the Buffalo Bills here to their third consecutive Super Bowl appearance. We have with us tonight here at the TNT Control Center two people who know a whole lot about playing quarterback. On my right is Steve Young. On my left, Randall Cunningham. And Steve, let's start with you and have you talk about young Troy Aikman. This is a quarterback who relates to you a little bit. Both young, both under pressure early in their careers.
Absolutely, and I think the thing about people wonder why the Cowboys are in the Super Bowl. Well, and especially being such a young team, it's because of the quiet confidence and intense leadership of Troy Aikman. I think he's been the key to keeping this team together, even though they're youthful.
Yeah, he seemed to have a lack of nerves. If anything, he said that he's calm.
You know, I noticed early in the week when all the press was around, there was hundreds of guys with cameras in their face and lights. He said, wait, this is way overhyped. This is no big deal. And I thought that was a great way to start the Super Bowl week.
He may think it's a big hype tomorrow when he gets in the Rose Bowl.
Maybe so. Maybe when he's going to bed tonight, he might think something different.
I'll bet so. Now, Randall Cunningham of the Philadelphia Eagles. You know the quarterback's obviously important. You had a lot of pressure on you in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
But you think that with Jim Kelly, from the Buffalo Bills' point of view, that Kelly, while being important, may not be all that big a story.
Well, he's a very talented quarterback. Everybody knows that. I think that the offensive lines of both teams are really going to show the show tomorrow. Those guys are going to have to protect, and they're going to have to open the holes for the running backs.
So what do you think about Jim Kelly coming off an injury? You had to come off an injury. Will that affect him at all in the ball game?
I think what it's going to do is it's going to calm him down. I think in the beginning of the game, he'll get hot. He'll have a little success, and as he goes on, I think he'll get better and better as the game goes. At worst, along the end of the game, he might get a little sore, a little tired.
Gentlemen, thanks for being up here with us. We're going to get this party all kicked off now. A festive atmosphere here at the NFL Experience. What better way to get the party kicked off with a rowdy crowd than country music?
When they told him he didn't have the size to play, he reached inside and found the power. Starter. He was from a small school in a small town, but he had the heart to make it big. Starter. Each had a dream, and when you start with a dream, where you end up is up to you. Starter.
Flying coach was a bit of a drag, but I'm here.
Kansas City's Dale Carter led the Chiefs with 7 interceptions, returning 1 for a touchdown. He also returned 2 punts for touchdowns while averaging over 10 yards a return. Santana Dotson became a name to remember for the Buccaneers with 10 sacks and 71 tackles. Chris Mims learned quickly from Chargers defensive guru Bill Arnsparger, registering 10 sacks while making 53 tackles at his spot at defensive end. Steve Ettman of the Colts proved that he was worthy of being the first player picked in the draft with 3 sacks, 49 tackles, and 1 forced fumble in only 9 games before his injury. Ettman added this 90-yard interception return for a touchdown to seal a victory at Miami.
Well, rookies made a very big splash in the NFL this year, but only one could be chosen Rookie of the Year. Let's meet the Rookie of the Year now, the ProSet NFL Rookie of the Year.
This year's ProSet NFL Rookie of the Year is Marco Coleman of the Miami Dolphins. Coleman was moved from linebacker, his position in college, to defensive end 3 games into the season and responded with 84 tackles, 3rd on the squad. He also registered 6 sacks, the 3rd highest single-season rookie total in Dolphin history. 3 times during the season, Coleman led the team in tackles, helping rejuvenate the Dolphin D. His best effort of the year came against the Indianapolis Colts when he recorded 13 tackles and sacked the quarterback 3 times. Marco Coleman enjoyed a season to remember, and he is the 1992 ProSet NFL Rookie of the Year.
ProSet will make a donation to the NFL Fact Education Program in the name of Marco Coleman, who has joined us live here at the NFL Experience. Marco, I remember you very well from your days at Georgia Tech. Quickly you move into the NFL. What was the key to your success to get this award as Rookie of the Year?
Well, I think that a lot of prayer, and using God as my guidance, that was the biggest thing, and staying focused. That a lot of prayer helped me to stay focused. I think that was the biggest key.
A lot of impact with the Miami Dolphins this year. How good do you feel about that defense?
I feel real good. I have a lot of expectations for the coming up season. I'm really enthusiastic about what we can do and what's possible for the next season, and I'll be working hard to continue on with great things coming on.
Congratulations on being Rookie of the Year. I know you had a thrill meeting my next guest.
Yeah, definitely, I'm going to get his autograph. So,
just minutes ago.
Yeah.
One day they'll be doing the same for you. Marco Coleman, the Rookie of the Year. Of course, we're talking about Joe Namath. And Joe, I remember of all the Super Bowl thrills I had, 1969, Super Bowl III, you guaranteed and delivered the victory. 24 years, it's hard to imagine. What a difference in the Super Bowl then and now.
Oh, wow, it was a lot to do back then. We had to get ready for the game, and the media was there, and all the questions, and it's grown 10, 20 times in full.
Let's talk a little bit about the Buffalo Bills particularly. What do you think about that team? They have the pressure on them, 3rd time in a row here. Your feeling about the game?
I think it means something being here, having been here the last 2 times. You get a good team, a good man down twice and embarrass him. I think he's going to come back the 3rd time having learned a couple of lessons. I look for him to come back real tough. Now, the Cowboys haven't shown me anything that shows they should be an underdog, and I don't think the Bills are going to stop the Cowboys from scoring. But I think Jim Kelly's going to have a hot day, and I think they're going to find a way to outscore the Cowboys.
Joe, thanks for joining us. Have a good time here at the NFL Experience.
Thank you, Bob.
In just a moment, we're going to be going to the Buffalo Bills Hotel. But before we do that, let's relive their exciting season.
The Bills opened their season at home against the Rams. Thurman Thomas picked up where he left off, defending his rushing title. Thomas cut up the Rams for 136 total yards and 4 touchdowns in Buffalo's blowout victory. The tough 49ers were next up for the Bills.
Now Kelly under center. Thurman Thomas may get his number called here on 1st down. He does. He runs right up the 5 and in for the touchdown. It is Thurman Thomas for the touchdown. And the Bills have taken the lead.
Unfortunately for the Bills and their fans, it was Buffalo that would be squished by the Dolphins. Jim Kelly was intercepted 3 times as Miami romped in Rich Stadium, and the Bills fell to 4-1.
Gets it off in time. Throws. Touchdown.
This Monday night comeback win against the Jets lifted Buffalo to 5-2 and kept them in the running for the AFC East crown.
7:30 heat up.
The Bills were atop the East when they took on the Central Division leading Steelers. Buffalo shut down Pittsburgh with defense and a little trickery.
Touchdown, baby. Good play. Check this out. Kelly. Kenneth Davis. Dow a pass. Tight end. Good. It is good there to Mitch Farrar. Mitch Farrar
In the rematch with the Dolphins in Miami, the defense found its stride, constantly pressuring Dan Marino, sacking him 4 times and forcing him to rush his throws as the Bills moved to the top of the division with a big conference win.
This is what the weather's supposed to be like, baby. This is what you call football weather.
But there was something in the air that was causing the Bills to stumble as they lost their second in a row to an inspired Jets team playing for injured teammate Dennis Byrd. The Bills found their division crown in jeopardy, entering the last game of the year, needing a win to capture the East when disaster struck.
Watch the way Childress falls into Kelly's right leg. This could be serious.
Buffalo lost the game, the division, and their starting quarterback, and would meet the Oilers the following week in the wild card game at Rich Stadium. Backup quarterback Frank Wright would start in Kelly's place, but this interception return early in the third quarter made it 35-3 Oilers. It was looking very dim for the Bills.
Well, you know, the lights are on here at Rich Stadium. They've been on since this morning. You can pretty much turn them out on the Bills right now.
Now they overshift. May give it to Carwell here. No, it's Davis running left, trying to get to the corner flag, and he is in for the touchdown. Sails it long. Oh, Beebe at the 10, at the 5, in for the touchdown. Here is Wright, looking to throw, rolls out, throws down. There is Reed at the 5, in for the touchdown. Reed, touchdown. Reed, touchdown. Bills can win it here. Wright puts it down. The kick is on the way, and it is good.
With the best comeback in NFL history behind them, the Bills once again had to face the improved Miami Dolphins. The D was very tough, relentlessly pressuring Dan Marino, as they had in the previous matchups. Jim Kelly was back in the saddle at quarterback and used Thurman Thomas effectively, running away from the Dolphins and capturing the Bills' 3rd consecutive Super Bowl berth.
The Buffalo Bills had an outstanding season, particularly that great comeback in the beginning rounds of the playoffs. We have Ken Stabler with us now. And Kenny, my question to you is, this is the 3rd time they've been here. There not been major change made on this Buffalo Bills team. What makes them different this year to give them a chance to win?
Bob, I think some of the things that they've gone through. I think the fact that all the adversity, injuries late in the year, they still managed to win, still managed to get in there. The comeback against Houston, I think that team right now is on an emotional high that thinks they can do anything after what they did against Houston. And the fact that they've got this huge monkey on their back, being here a couple of times, they won it off. I think it's a motivating factor. I like their team very much.
I can't wait to see the no-huddle versus the #1 defense in America. How will the Bills move the ball?
I think the no-huddle will settle that young bunch down. The Dallas team, the #1 defense in the NFL, but very, very young. And I think a veteran offensive unit like that will give them that no-huddle thing, the hurry-up thing, and I think it'll settle them down a little bit. I like Buffalo in the game with the veteran players. I like the experience.
We're going to ask you about the Dallas Cowboys a little bit later in the program,
You
so
bet.
be thinking about the boys and America's team. And right now, Craig Sager, our colleague, is at a secretive hotel with the Buffalo Bills. Craig?
Well, Bob, the Bills have a different state of mind, which could lead to a different outcome. They appear to be more mature, they have overcome more adversity, and they have gained experience the hard way. In this media blitz, we did not get the only word with Marv Levy, but we did get the final word, his last interview before tomorrow.
The greatest comeback in NFL history. You commended your team. You said their courage, grace under pressure. As this pressure has continued to grow towards the Super Bowl, how have they handled the pressure?
I think very well. First of all, it's important that they enjoy the idea that they're in the Super Bowl. That helps to diffuse the pressure. It's important that they enjoy their interrelationship with the media because the glare of the media spotlight is very heavy, and it's understandable. I think they've handled that well, and when it's time come to practice or go to meetings, they've been great. I couldn't have asked for more.
No one is questioning the character of this team. But what about the reputation? If they fail here, that's all they'll be remembered for.
Well, we're not coming planning to fail. We're coming planning to win this game, and we're making the preparation that it takes to better improve our chances to win the game. We aren't playing Super Bowl 25. We're not playing Super Bowl 26, games which the Buffalo Bills lost. We're playing Super Bowl 27, and our total concentration is on it.
You're putting those past Super Bowls behind you, but what if it's a close game in the fourth quarter?
Does the fact that you've been here, does that help your team, whereas Dallas is young, they don't have that experience?
We're not counting on that at all, Greg. We're just counting on playing well, on concentrating on the task at hand at the time, on concentrating on the snap count, on concentrating on how do you defend those great receivers of theirs and that great running back. Those are the things we concentrate on, and the fact that we've been here before or not isn't going to help us win. It's not going to cause us to lose.
The Bills have some unfinished business, and so do we. I'll be back with Jim Kelly as we continue on Saturday Night Live.
When Super Bowl Saturday night continues, comedian Dennis Miller.
Commissioner of the National Football League, Paul Tagliabue. Paul? Paul, you have a special presentation to make, and that's the Edge NFL Man of the Year Award.
Yes, I do, Pat. This is a very special award to a very special football player and person, John Elway. The award goes to the player in the National Football League who distinguishes himself on the field and also in community service. And most of us here, I think, know how John distinguishes himself on the field. He's got the patented finish, which his opponents normally don't like to see, but it comes more often than with most other quarterbacks. In the community, John is equally extraordinary. He has his own foundation. He's involved in a number of things, both locally in Denver, throughout the state of Colorado, and nationally. So that's why we're here to honor John.
The Edge NFL Man of the Year, one of the great stars of the National Football League, and the best fourth-quarter quarterback playing today, John Elway.
The 1992 Edge NFL Man of the Year is Denver Broncos quarterback John Elway. Quarterback is a position that requires natural leadership, and Elway has provided that for 10 years as the Broncos starter, leading them to 93 victories.
Elway's got the ball to the end zone.
Off the field, John Elway gets involved in his community. The John Elway Foundation holds fundraisers for a number of local charities.
You know, it's really been great. The last 4 years that we've had it has just been super, and we've been able to give a lot of money to the Kemp Center and Family Focus, that are two great organizations and really do a lot for child abuse. And, you know, I think with everything that's happening, you know, child abuse is starting to come to the surface.
John uses his athletic ability to help charitable causes as well, whether it's a day on the links or a bicycle climb through the mountains. John Elway's role in the NFL's quarterback club raises money for the Children's Miracle Network.
We want to be able to give something back, you know, anything we can do to help those and help that network, which I think has done a heck of a job with their hospitals and those type of things, that we're glad to be associated with them, and hopefully we can raise a heck of a lot of money and really be able to broaden their horizons for them.
As meaningful as his charity work is the support John receives from his wife Janet and their 4 children. Whether he's in his backyard or on his home field, John Elway is a leader to his teammates and his community, and that is why he has been chosen the 1992 Edge NFL Man of the Year.
And this is a good look at the handsome trophy that John Elway is going to get. The Commissioner, you have a presentation.
John, to recognize you for extraordinary achievement both on and off the field, I present you the Edge NFL Man of the Year Award. Congratulations. Thank you.
John, first of all, good luck getting that through airport security tomorrow. But, you know, everybody knows what you do on Sunday afternoons, but we don't recognize what you do on Monday through Saturdays. You have to feel some special thanks for the community work that you do.
Well, I tell you what, it's something that I always want to get involved in, and I just like to thank the Denver Broncos for giving me the opportunity, and they gave me the platform to go out and do some things in the community, and we're just thrilled to death with the things that we've been able to do, and I'm thrilled to death with this award.
Now, Edge is going to give $25,000 to the John Elway Foundation. Tell us a little bit about the foundation.
Well, the foundation I started about 5 years ago, and all our money goes to 2 different organizations in Denver, the National Kemp Center as well as Family Focus, and they both deal with the treatment and prevention of child abuse. And we've, up to this point, this year we broke the $1 million mark that we've been able to give those 2 organizations. So I'd like to, at this point in time, thank the president of the foundation. That's my buddy Dennis Engel, who's done a great job.
Hey, John, thanks for joining us again. Congratulations. Let's go back out to Pasadena and Bob Neal.
Thank you, Pat. Edge will donate $25,000 in the name of John Elway to the John Elway Foundation. You're looking at beautiful overhead shots of the Rose Bowl on this Super Bowl Eve, provided by the Goodyear Blimp. Goodyear Blimps have been covering sporting events for 68 years. This year is the 25th year a Goodyear Blimp has flown over the Super Bowl. We're in Pasadena. Let's go back to Hollywood and rejoin Pat Hayden.
Well, Bob, what is a good party without a lot of laughs? That's a bad party. And I'm happy to say we got a man I'm about to introduce that's going to provide